opening statements and emotional testimony in court.
That's right. Day one of the Antioch church shooting trial is wrapping up after a tense first day of this trial. Now, News Channel 5's Matthew Torres is tracking the case from court for us. And Matthew, I know we heard some gripping testimony from people who were there when the gunshots rang out.
And Rory, one of the people who testified today was a Metro police officer who first responded to the scene, saying when he went inside the sanctuary, he saw a person with a bloody head, a gun in his hand, standing over what would be the suspect. He first thought that person was actually the shooter until someone yelled, "Don't shoot him, he's my son."
I said, I have a .45 caliber with hollow points, loaded, pointed right at you. You move, I wouldn't shoot.
Armed with his own pistol, Robert Caleb Engel held down the suspect accused of opening fire inside the Burnett Chapel Church of Christ. The usher, hailed a hero, remembers having tunnel vision as he stopped the gunman.
I remember standing up in front of him, and he extended his arm. And the only thing I can remember is I just shoved my left arm out in front of him.
Moments earlier, he was pistol whipped about 5 times in the head, but that didn't stop him. Engel was the latest witness to take the stand in the trial against Emanuel Samson, a former church member who helped with Vacation Bible School about 4 years ago. He's accused of killing Melanie Crow in the parking lot.
He was just pointing it straight, like straight.
Alicia Leach was outside the church and heard what first sounded like firecrackers. She remembers seeing a large man with a motorcycle-style mask and a leather jacket with a gun already drawn, walking deliberately towards the church.
And I could just hear the bullets, and I fell. And I went to the front of the car because I was waiting for him to come around the car, and I was waiting for him to kill me.
The majority of witnesses who took the stand today were elderly, including William Jenkins, who was trying to escape using his walker. He was shot 3 times in his leg. His wife, Marlene, also shot, thought he died.
Well, he has killed him, and he might as well kill me, too.
And in Catherine Dickerson's testimony, she said she had to play dead by putting a purse over her face. Today, she was in the same dress she wore that morning on September 24, 2017, and in a captivating moment, showed where a bullet blasted through her leg.
The courtroom was packed, and it also was pretty tense even before the judge walked in. That's because a family member and girlfriend of Emanuel Samson, who was trying to sit in one of the few spots available, was actually right next to Melanie Crow's family. And as they tried to do so, that's when you heard some church members say loudly, "No," and the two walked out. The trial will pick back up tomorrow at 9 a.m., but to continue our coverage on what to expect as far as evidence and testimonies later in this trial, we now have News Channel 5's Nick Barris.
So what is his defense? Diminished capacity or insanity? Now, Metro Police say Emanuel Samson initially did admit to the shooting, but later he pleaded not guilty. Now, there are survivors who have and will identify Samson as being at the scene. So what is his defense? As I said, it may be targeting his mental state. Investigators have said there's little doubt Samson went to the Burnett Chapel Church of Christ on September 24th of 2017 and started shooting.
Being a Christian, it doesn't stop the nightmares.
Minister Joey Spann was one of several people shot inside the church.
When I fell down the other side, my wife raised up. She cried out, my name, just yelling, "Joey, Joey." And I said, honey, he's killed me.
Spann survived, but 39-year-old Melanie Crow Smith did not. Police say she was shot and killed by Samson in the church parking lot. He may have killed more if not for the heroic actions of 22-year-old usher Caleb Engel, who managed to disarm Samson and then hold him at gunpoint for police.
Everyone in this church is a hero. God was most definitely the hero.
Since his arrest, Samson has been locked up in the Davidson County Jail. He underwent a psychological evaluation and was deemed fit to stand trial, but the basis for his defense figures to be Samson's mental state at the time of the shooting.
You are coming home, baby. You coming home.
That's for damn sure. Or die trying.
News Channel 5 obtained exclusive copies of jailhouse phone calls between Samson and his girlfriend. His comments about publicity over the case seems to indicate Samson had no idea of the trouble he's facing.
I didn't know, not necessarily the severity, but I didn't know the limelight that was shown on this weekend's case of mine.
There was talk of Samson being suicidal and hearing voices in the weeks before the shooting, but while jailed, he made dozens of calls which figure to be part of the prosecution's case.
If you're trying to allege that someone doesn't have competency, but yet you have, 140 jail phone calls where it seems as though he knows exactly what's going on. That's going to be very difficult to raise that kind of a defense.
Of course, the most powerful evidence for the prosecution will be testimony from the shooting survivors. As for Samson, his witness list will likely be quite short, likely just experts testifying toward his lack of mental competence. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.